Okay, our next speaker is Patricia Meyers, and Patricia has spoken at every LiveAware conference so far, and I usually somehow put her as the first speaker in the morning, and so everyone was waking up to her. But this year I decided I needed to give her some respite and allow her to sleep in a bit if she wanted to. I'm really happy to have her back. I think she brings something special and different to this conference. She's going to be speaking on gemstones and minerals and flowers, and her history or her background is in holistic training in homeopathic medicine, but then she's also does a lot of work and has done a lot of training in flower essences. She's a Flower Essence Society certified consultant and teacher. And I think the thing that over the last 3 years that she's talked here that I find fascinating is just the number of different flower essences that she has gone out and found from all over the world, and just the information and the knowledge she has on that. I don't think there's anyone on this planet that has more knowledge than her. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel that's the way it feels like. She's the writer and publisher of the Essential Flower newsletter for several years, and she promotes essences widely. Since 1999, she's hosted the monthly gatherings of practitioners in her hometown of San Mateo, California, where she currently practices. The essences continue to intrigue and fascinate her, to bring joy and wonder and a level of energy and intelligence everyone can learn from, particularly during challenging times. And I think that's also something that previously she has come and said, you know, she very much looks at the individual person and then looks at what flower essence or what healing she can help with. And she demonstrates that in her presentations as well. So thank you, Patricia, for coming back. And she does have a table afterwards, and she'll be there, and she has her some of her essences that she's created for sale.
Thank you so much. Get you out. Oops. Feel so high up here. Hello, everybody, and thank you for coming. I'm looking forward to this. I just wanted to ask before I start, does everybody know what flower essences are? Or because I have a little bit of background stuff too. Anybody not know? Why don't you give us a brief description? A little refresher. Okay, that's great. Well, I'll start off just by letting you know I've got 2 jobs. I'm an artist, I'm a painter, and I've also been involved in healing with essences since living in South Africa. I studied with a couple of homeopaths that really fascinated me, and everything that the whole family went through, I learned from, so it was very interesting. One of them gave me my first set of the Bach flowers from his kit that he said, bring me 38 little bottles, and you can't hurt anybody. That was his message to me. You can go off and try and help people and do what you can, but it's safe, it's completely safe. So that was always very helpful. I can't poison anybody, can't do anything seriously negative. Okay, let's see. See if I can work everything here. I am Jewish, and I get a Chabad reading just about every day, and many of them are very pertinent. My family is pretty super religious back in South Africa, but I'm not super religious. So this is a Rabbi Tzvi Freeman who says, when it all began, heaven was here on earth. This physical earthly world, more than any of the higher spiritual worlds, was the place where the very essence of God's infinite light could be found. But humankind, step by step, banished that divine presence from its home, with the tree of knowledge, with a man who murdered his brother, and with all those things that human beings do. Since humankind chased it away, only humankind can bring it back. And this began with Abraham, who proclaimed oneness for all the world. And it ends with us. Our generation will bring heaven back down to earth. Okay. Flower essences are liquid potentized plant preparations which convey a distinct imprint or etheric pattern of a particular flower. A gem or mineral elixir is a liquid potentized gem or mineral preparation which conveys the distinct imprint or pattern of a specific gem or mineral. Environmental essences, which I also use, although I didn't bring any to show, harness the powerful elemental forces of different environments for the unique gifts of deep healing. Now remember, these energies are all vibrational in character. They have no scent. So I have a few here to show. No fragrances. Aromatherapy is a different system based on the olfactory levels. I was also taught how to use a pendulum. Where is it? Oh gosh, I had it right here. It's hiding. I was taught how to use a pendulum. And it's something that occurred to me the other day. I said, it helps you see around corners. It's where you really don't know what's happening, but you can tune in and get in touch with the person's energy. And I found that it's been incredibly helpful. And I know that I channel a little. I sometimes get a message before I even see somebody, or the morning I'm going to be working with somebody, about what they would be needing. And I would write that down and find that it was pretty accurate. I would also check it with my pendulum. Here I've got my big fat smoky quartz pendulum here. And you'll notice that it's saying yes, yes, yes. And yes, for me, being from South Africa, is counterclockwise. When I'm in South Africa, it goes clockwise for yes. And this is my yes over here in the northern hemisphere. When I turn my hand over to look for the negative, this is going clockwise here. So I focus on the person and I use it. I don't use it exclusively. I just use it to check what I'm getting. And it's been pretty terrific. So and very helpful. An essence can be made using a gem, a crystal, mineral, or combination. I thought this was such a beautiful slide. I wanted you to see the crystals. Their effects may be more physical as a result of their material aspect. And we might use spoken affirmations to enhance their effects, because then people know what they're taking and what it's for, and it gets into the mental side as well. This is how an essence is made with the elements. Flowers in spring water. You can see the bowl. This is one of my paintings, not a really great one. If you want to see more paintings, I can show you at my desk because I've got them on my phone. Flowers in spring water, on the earth, in the fresh air, and under the fire of the sun. That's using the basic elements. And we let the water cook those flowers in the sunshine, and the flowers are picked and put into the water. And usually after an hour or 2 hours, they start to fade slightly, and their liquid energy has gone into the water, which is then diluted twice to make an essence. And all my little bottles are stock bottles. So when I choose essences for a client, I would choose 2 drops from each stock bottle and make up a combination which I would shake up and give them to take. Here is my lovely daughter from many years ago showing another way of making an essence. This was a canna lily growing in my garden. They're still growing there. They're a little more pink now. The color's changed. And she's pouring water from the bowl, spring water, over the flower and capturing the essence that way as well. So it's just another way to make an essence. And in fact, if you do a little deal with spirit, you can do it just about any way you want to do it. And it does work. It really does work. I've now got about 3,000 to 4,000 essences at home. After a formal training in 1987 at the California Flower Essence Societies, I've co-created many myself in my garden, in friends' gardens in South Africa, or journeys to foreign countries, and a few from Mexico as well. I've also attended workshops and acquired complete kits from major essence producers. Desert Alchemy, Alaskan Flower Essence Project, Australian Bush Living from Australia, Blossom Remedies, I'll mention what I'm using. Flora of Asia are new ones made here from Flowers of Asia. The ancient forests, the African tree essences, and it goes on and on. I'm going to start first to show you the rescue remedy. This is Dr. Bach, who started teaching about flower essences and using them, went into the countryside in England, and he came up with 38 flowers. The 5-flower formula is his major flower, and he called it's a major combination, and he called it Rescue Remedy. I made a little spray bottle of Rescue Remedy, so if you feel as if you've been through lots of trauma, sadness, grief, anything that's been too hard to deal with, and I use it a lot with children diagnosed with issues as well. You just missed this way over. You just missed yourself. I didn't bring drops to take, but you can get it in the form of drops. I have some available inside as well, which I'm happy to share and also sell. So Rescue Remedy is a very well-known one, and I've been giving it to children, mostly as a basic essence and adding others to it. You'll look at these. The top flower there is a lily called Star of Bethlehem. And if you look carefully, it's got 6 petals, a triangle above and a triangle below. And what happens when we get a terrible shock, and it's almost like we're beside ourselves with shock or grief, those triangles split apart and need to be combined again so that the center's in the center of us. So this 5-flower formula helps with that. The one on the left side is called clematis, or clematis, as I've always called it. There's 4 petals there, and they form a cross underneath the little spray of stamens. They form a cross, which means you're not going anywhere. Excuse me. They're, you be here now. It's about being here now. The one below that, the yellow, is called rock rose, and the rock rose it's called the Rescue Remedy itself. It's for absolute terror when you feel as if you might die. And taking the rock rose and this combination helps you realize you're not going to die. You're going to be okay. And the last one at the bottom is called impatience, and it's for people who want things to be better right away, and they're really impatient. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that one and show you another picture of that one. This is a cherry plum tree. I made this essence in a friend's garden in Menlo Park, and she actually passed away several months ago, and I was there at her memorial last week. And it's the most beautiful little tree. It's not flowering yet. I heard it flowers in May, but it was so beautiful that I decided to make an essence of it. And the next essence is the one I made. This is the next one that I made of the cherry plum flower essence for extreme tension and fear of losing control. So it's really one where somebody wants to hang on and can't. The next one is the impatience that I mentioned, and this one balances and soothes those with intense irritability, stress, or impulsivity. It's another component of the 5-flower formula. That's what the California Flower Essence calls this formula. They can't use Rescue Remedy because that's just for the Bach people. Okay, a little separate. And the 5-flower formula of the healing herbs of Dr. Bach was remade by Julian Barnard and his wife in England, who wanted a less commercial product and something that was truer to what Dr. Bach had intended and made before. He was associated closely with the Bach Center in, I think it's Sotwell, England. Another combination, and this is a combination that I have on the table as well. This is called the Yarrow Environmental Solution, and this was produced by the California Flower Essence Society after the Chernobyl disaster to address with plant energies the fears around electromagnetic forces, the need for cell phones, computers, and the inevitable radiation from technology equipment. It's available as a spray mist, and when I'm feeling really tired after being on the computer for too long, I give a little spritz, and immediately my energy comes back up. It's really pretty terrific. I've got little tester bottles here as well for people to try. I use it also. It's also used in a tin. There's a brochure on it for people undergoing radiation treatment for cancer, and it apparently helps with the burn that can occur to the skin. And people have gone through it and gone through bottles of it because of its usefulness for that. And it does seem to hold us together, those of us that are with equipment all the time. My cousin comes to stay, and she stays with her daughter, and she has to sleep in a room full of a bank of computers around her. And she says, please give me that stuff, please, that YES formula. It's Yarrow Environmental Solution, the YES formula. I wanted to mention that on the cover of the booklet, there's a picture of all the different yarrow flowers. And I'm going to show you those. But there's one particular one that's yellow. And although they do have one that's golden, that seems to shine with its own light, this yellow one I used when I made a formula to help myself with anxiety about public speaking. And when I took that formula and I added that yarrow to it, the yellow yarrow, it looks sort of mustard colored and not very exciting. When I took that one and I stood in front of a group of people, I realized that I was being challenged and not threatened. So it really made a wonderful difference to me. And these are the other yarrows. There's a pink yarrow for emotional support. And the white yarrow is if you're a fearful person and you're always worried about being attacked or afraid and you're vulnerable, this white yarrow helps you stand straight with this umbrella of yarrow plants around you, protecting you because it strengthens your aura, and somebody's less likely to jump on you and bother you if you've used it. So it's a very wonderful essence. The formula also contains echinacea, which brings immunity to infectious diseases, awakens self-identity and wholeness. It's a very strong plant. I don't know if you've ever seen echinacea growing. It's got a very strong flower itself. You can't bend it easily. Also arnica, which is a well-known homeopathic remedy for injuries and for splits. It's also part of this remedy. I think I'm going to sneeze. I hope not. Okay. Sorry, I was. Couldn't tell. Okay, next one is an essence that's not in this formula, but I wanted you to see it. It's called Self-Heal. And I would test this with anybody who comes along with an illness and they're worried about whether they will survive the illness. And I've used it for people that come along with cancer. I've used it myself. It helps people awaken their inner ability to self-heal. And when people have decided, when someone who's afflicted with an illness like that and goes to doctors and starts to get the medicine, which is pretty harsh treatment, if I give them self-heal at the same time, they'll end up going also for acupuncture and also to a dietitian to change their diet, and maybe also for therapy to see what might have been behind getting ill. So it awakens ways you can find yourself healing yourself. So it's a really important essence, and it's this beautiful shade of purple. I have it all over my garden, so I don't think I've made an essence of my own. Okay. Sorry, just wanted to see one thing. Okay. This essence combination, now, because I'm an artist, so I combine things and make things my own way, and I do things differently. And I listen to my intuition and work with spiritual masters and colleagues to create formulas to address the newest issues facing us. In my new transition support combination, which I have here and I have available, and I've made a number of bottles if anybody's interested, and I don't know anybody who's not going through transitions lately in the last year or two or three that have been really difficult. And I got landed a doozy. My daughter, who was living in Stockton, and her daughter she was in a relationship, and the relationship ended, and the owner of the house they were renting suddenly decided he wanted to resell the property. And the market seemed right for that, and she had nowhere to go. So I said, you better come and live with me here in San Mateo. And my husband and I have a rather small house. And she's in the living room, and she's been there since April. And it hasn't been easy. And I decided I'm going to make a spray for transitions. And I have albums of things I've written and lists of things I've made. And I had a list of transition essences, things that go through, people that go through changes. And I'm going to tell you what's in here and show you some of the pictures. Thurbus gilia is not one of the pictures, but I just wanted to tell you, this is an essence to support one during transitions in life. It dissolves fear and limitations. It speaks of the limbo state, when the old is ending and the new is not yet born. So accepting without negative judgment the in-between, the transition for what it is, the transition. So I don't know how long this transition is going to be. It's been 8 or 9 months already. But we're getting along better. And this is the formula. I'm spraying my husband, my daughter, my granddaughter, myself. And I think I need some more of it lately because it's been particularly hard. But it's really, it's a wonderful essence for this. It also has in it snowdrop, which is over here in the bottom right-hand side from where you are. And this breaks through frozen soil to produce clumps of white bell-shaped flowers. Its ability to survive harshest winter conditions is symbolic of the soul's ability to accept the most difficult of challenges on the earth plane. In other words, however hard it gets, we can actually get through it if we use good support, positive support. It embodies the qualities of personal power and leadership. It dissolves blockages and holding patterns, which prevent ki energy from flowing freely. Qui energy, Q, probably. Think about that too. Weigelia is another one, which helps us recognize that everything is part of the divine plan. Everything that happens, God is in charge. And one's freedom lies in the ability to accept and respond to life as it is. There's another one called Mutabilis Rose. You can look at this rose. This is one plant, and it has flowers in all colors. Its simple petal blossoms mutate from white and yellow to orange, pink, and red. Controlled mutation is its greatest talent through the reduction of fear. So I thought this was a good one. It's all about change. It comes from Green Hope Farm. There's an Asian one called Chinese Hymenopterus, which I won't describe, but I'll show you separately. And Conifer mesangial is these cones, which come from England. And it's for sudden, abrupt, and irrevocable changes in our lives caused by personal traumas or when the old has to die and be replaced by something new. It continually activates energies of positive change. The properties of this essence mirror those of the fungus it's made from itself, converting the dead wood of the past into new growth of a different form. It's deep acting. So I use that too in this formula. And giant belladonna lily up on the left, this is from my garden. And it's the 12th bud cluster it opened, and it had light pink striped flowers, and it expresses the feminine principle about not being too harsh about everything. Take it gently. It can move, it can change. So this is the formula called the Transition Support Formula. And I'd love to share it with you if you're interested. My daughter is also an artist and a healer and very helpful with all of that. And, okay. I want to share with you some impressive feedback on this formula. A colleague of mine is a special ed teacher, and we've been working together for a long time. And she gets very excited about the essences. I gave her essences originally, and all her bronchitis went because all the grief which was in her lungs healed up and dried up, and she didn't need to carry it around any longer. So she loves to work with me. And when I made this transitions formula, she said, I want to try it. My husband really needs it. He's so anxious. He's overly anxious, and he's having health issues. So she started to spray him and spray herself and spray the house and spray the bed and wherever he was, probably the kitchen because he loves cooking. And he became calmer, and his anxiety became appropriately focused. He was no longer sure he was going to die with everything that happened. Later, he was told he needed surgery, and he went through it with great ease and no complications from the transition formula. So it was really very needed for him. Okay, let's move on. And, whoops. This is another little message from the rabbi. When you come to a place that seems out of God's realm, too coarse for light to enter, and you want to run away, which I think about pretty often, know that there is no place outside of God, not even this place, and rejoice in your task of uncovering him there. So whatever is difficult in life, just know that God is there too, and we're supposed to go through things so that we can change. We can change ourselves too and learn. Then an interesting formula that came about. This was very exciting for me. I call it the celebration of the light. And it was to honor and celebrate the coming of the light. And this happened through my experience of essences with a new client. This is the 4th spray that I have outside there. And I wanted to say that when I am absolutely hitting on something madly spiritual and it's working out and it's good, I get a body rush, which is terrific. And I had one yesterday describing this essence to a lovely lady who was looking at these essences, and I got this body rush. She was talking about her sick mother and that she would like to give her something. So this gentleman had an astrological reading with a woman I know who's a very good astrologer and reader and healer. And she came to me afterwards. I didn't know the man. And she said, he got this wonderful reading from you, but I would like to give him essences as well, just to make sure that whatever comes up for him is going to be helpful for him, and possibly he could manifest it. So she talked to him about it, and I met him. I didn't meet him, I met him on the phone. And he said, okay, go ahead. He would do this. So let's see what happened. So I put this essence together, and it had in it an integration formula from Holland. Now I've got these over here that I wanted to share with you too. This is the celebration of the light essence. It contains something called divine love from Holland, and it's a mixture of a whole bunch of different of quartz crystals and all kinds of quartz, aquamarine, morganite, apophyllite, lithium, candle quartz, a whole bunch of things. And they all came into it. And he called it divine love, and it integrates the old and new, higher knowledge, and strengthens our universal love, our connection with our own love with the universe. Another formula in it is Jupiter. Jupiter made, under Jupiter, one day my daughter made this one. In 2005, she was telling me all the time that there was an astrological thing happening and she needed to put water out for an essence. So she's got like, I don't know, 100 bottles, 150 bottles of essences that she'd made. But she'd made the Jupiter that was going to go into this formula. And she had an attunement about it for high vibration, expansion, inner knowing, wheel of fortune, Father's place in the world, orange, green, yellow, brown, and luck. Okay, and the integration formula is this one. This is it's got the belladonna lily, the belladonna lily, and it's got 2 mushrooms which are very good for integrating. They're really good healers for people that are seriously ill. He's got hollyhocks, impatience, and pumpkin in it, and angel's trumpet. And this is angel's trumpet over here. I've got them marked, the integration formula. And as well as that, 2 essences called saguaro queen cactus, which combines the saguaro queen essence from Arizona, and this is the saguaro cactus. That's the one you see in the movies. and look at the flowers. They're right at the top. They're high, 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 and the flowers are fertilized by bats at night. And these are the flowers close up. So this brings a wonderful integration as well. Sawara Queen formula comprises 2 essences. It's okay. I'll tell you how. There's still more coming. Still more coming. Whoops. The Sawara helps us deal with any problems we have with authority figures or our inner sense of authority. It's the plant embodiment to supportive fathering energy. Sawara I'd give to somebody who didn't have a dad, or the dad ran away, or was unavailable, or ill, or alcoholic, or whatever it was. So I work a lot like that. It's about doing the right thing for all concerned, especially ourselves. The usually unnoticed pink one, the queen of the night cactus, helps us allow our inner receptive nature to flourish and enhance our intuitive nature. A large underground root tuber provides storeroom of essential nutrients. So it's a real mama, it's a real mother with all this energy food in it, underground, that you never really see. And there's enough so that if the flower gets broken, it can send up another flower so that the universe still gets the flower. It facilitates an integrated sense of our godliness and humanity. And I have gotten 2 wonderful feedbacks from this formula, which I'm going to share with you. But let me just show you what happened. I gave it to my yoga teacher, who heard me talking about this formula. And she said, I'd like to try that one, Patricia. Would you please bring me a bottle? So I said, certainly. And then I asked her last week if she found anything, if she had any awareness after taking it. So she said to me, when I meditated after taking the new celebration of light formula that Patricia offered me, I was guided to chant the Gayatri mantra, an ancient Vedic chant to the sun and all it represents. So I looked that up on the internet. I'm still using the internet. Gayatri mantra is the most powerful of all Sanskrit mantras. It's a prayer to illuminate our intelligence, known as the torch to spiritual wisdom. The term Gayatri is in the name itself, said to represent the intelligence of the sun itself. So that was that flower. And then I got a call from Amor, who is the woman, her name is Amor Luz. She's the one who had the session with this guy. And she said, I wanted to tell you feedback on the celebration of the light. This formula, this is a bit small. Okay. This formula is the appropriate, and with Jupiter in it, is so appropriate with Jupiter in it, because Jupiter accentuates and expands. If a person is ready for growth and has hesitation, this essence is to support them through it so they don't have the hesitation. You know, it gives that little shift. Like I changed the feeling of fear of speaking to challenge. That's the shift that the essences can bring. It helps to release self-doubt. Oh, she says the essence gives the extra added oomph to do it and says you are ready. It helps to relieve self-doubt and releases dark shadows lurking. One can see them with confidence that they're not stronger than you are, and you can face them head on. That's a good thing to remember, those of you that are facing dark challenges at this time. Then the other essences like Sawara and Queen of the Night work together to support the next higher level of self. So what they do is change us, because we can't change other people, but we can work to the best of our own ability and change things that way. Now, I just wanted to say one more thing. I was going to take this essence along to an evening celebration at a friend who has a group called the Creative Health Network, held in Palo Alto. Usually we get together for the solstices and the equinoxes, and we do some praying and we do some meditation and we share and bring some yummy food and a meal. And I suddenly realized that 22nd of December of last year was also, it was the same night as the winter solstice. That was the shortest night, the longest night, the shortest the shortest day, and it was a very special night in the Jewish Hanukkah celebration. And it came to me, this is what I do, is I put it together with this celebration of the light. And I took her, she's not Jewish, I took her a candelabra with the candles, and together we lit the one candle for the first night of Hanukkah that night. And every night after that, she added another candle and lit 2 nights, 2 candles, 3 nights, 3 candles, onward up to 8. And this whole festival of Hanukkah is to celebrate the attack on the temple, the Jewish temple, which happened a long, long time ago. And at this time, the enemy came in and they devastated the temple, and they killed a pig on the altar, which was an unclean animal in the Jewish religion. And they devastated the oil, and it looked like it was all gone. And the people that came back afterwards, the Maccabees that came back, discovered there was only enough oil for one night. So they lit that candle that night. And I'm getting a rush as I tell you this because it makes me want to cry. And the oil lasted for 8 nights. That was the miracle of Hanukkah, that oil went on and on and on for 8 nights, when more oil arrived, so they would always have enough. And we're told to put that Hanukkah candle, which you saw earlier, and I'll go back to it so that you can look at it again. I think I can get it back. Put it in the window so people can see that God can help us. Didn't expect to cry here. Thank you. And this guy was very happy with his reading, and he was visiting friends, and he wanted some of his essences to go to them as well, which I gave him. And that was the end of it for that. And I have these sprays, which you're welcome to try. This is, maybe I'll take a spray of the celebration of the lights, and I can recover a little quicker. And yeah, that helps. It does help. It really does help. So I will have those at my table. How did I do? I think I'm just about done. Thank you. I don't know what else I need to tell you. Thank you all for coming. And if you have questions, I'm ready to take them. Anybody have
Anyone have any questions?
God. Thank you, God. Yes, thank you.
Do you do essences that are custom made? If someone were to come to you and
yes,
they
I
have
do
X, Y, and Z, and
yeah, I've got about 3,000 or 4,000 at home, and I know a lot of them. There's some I don't, but I've got the books, and I can look up. If the pendulum says there's one in that box, I will find it. Mm-hmm. And I work with children a lot. I was one of the first people to work with children with attention deficit problems and vaccination injuries and all this kind of thing. And it is another way to go. It's not as fast as Ritalin, which I don't think is the best thing to do for your kids. And I'm totally against vaccines. But I do personal essences for people and also for adults. And I teach and have classes occasionally when I've got the energy. I am getting older. And I'm really glad I could make it for tonight, for today. Thank you. Anything else?
yes. So when I think of essences, they remind me so much of homeopathy.
Yeah, they are like that.
Can you just tell me, your own, how you feel? How do they compare in terms of like?
They are vibrational, like homeopathy. They are, the flowers and the plants and everything used is all very positive. And they're being used now for even Lyme's disease. I'm going to a workshop on this from a fellow in New Hampshire who's got a whole lot of essences that I want to know about. And a lot of these ailments and illnesses that are so dangerous today that people succumb to them. And I'm trying to learn more about those. Homeopathy is made from anything under the sun and also from poisons, which doesn't make them more dangerous or anything, but they need to be given by somebody who's trained in homeopathic. I'm a sort of first aid homeopath. And everything I've done, I've raised my children with. And my daughter is 50, my son is 47, going to be 48 soon. And when my granddaughter needs something, my daughter says, "I've got it, Mom, don't worry, I know what you would give her." And she's got a good handle on it already. So homeopathy, I use, low potencies safely and find that it's really wonderfully helpful. And I use it for myself. I've had some serious ailments and been helped with it. The two homeopaths that I adored are both gone now, and they were in South Africa, and they were wonderful. And I know there are more, and more people and young people are studying it, which is terrific and wonderful. And I have a homeopath now that I see in Walnut Creek, in Benicia. She spoke a couple of years ago here. And she's just terrific. And Myra. And I'm very happy with it. And I'm very happy with these medicines that are not harmful. It's really not harmful.
But how do you decide when you will use an essence and when you will use homeopathy?
I think when you need something gentle that's going to change the underground material of what you've come from. And maybe homeopathy can do that too. I think it probably can. But I do a 3-hour session in the beginning. I give my client, potential client, a background form, and we sit and talk together and have a cup of my African rooibos tea, and we spend time working out what's needed. And then I use the pendulum and decide on a program that could be helpful, but I only give the first set of essences which come together. Maybe I would have written down 30 different essences that I think they might need. And then I would select from those the first essences. And I find very often I get 11, which is kind of a magic number. And because they're 11 and they're powerful essences, I suggest the person take them once every second day, or, on once a day only. I never give them for more than once a day. And then over time, things shift. Things just change. And someone said, "I'm looking better." And my friend said, "You've never looked so good. What are you doing?" It's like it comes from inside. And we can only change ourselves. So doing essences is terrific. Myra does them with her pendulum for her clients too. She finds a group for them. She doesn't know the essences like I do. But we work together, and it's quite terrific. Things happen gently. In the beginning, I was doing what Dr. Bach said, give them 4 times a day, and I would have people bursting out crying all the time and having a hard time trying to adjust to what was being pushed on them. But taking them once a day is really plenty. If somebody's got some really heavy-duty stuff going on, I might suggest they take it every second day or twice a day at the most. Especially people with earth signs like Taurus and Saturn and people born at that time of the year. Some people don't notice what's happening, and then they suddenly look back and realize, I haven't been as depressed as I used to be. And it sort of sneaks up on you, and things can work out. The transition's been fun. It's really been fun. I spray my husband, and he's been a hard one. He's in the earth sign, so it's been hard for him. And I know that, but I don't have any alternative. Yes. Thank you.
How long do flower essences last? I took a class 15 years ago, and we made a bunch, and then she gave us a bunch, but I haven't used them since because I have no idea how to use them.
If you muscle test and see if you need them, take them. Give them a shake, wake them up, and start to try them and see what happens. I could pendle for you if you want to. That happens. I do that. I've got some that I've gotten from Dr. Philip Sherwin in South Africa. I don't use the Bach ones myself. I use the Healing Herbs, which is the later version. And Flower Essence Society supplies those. And I've taught for them and taught that program quite a number of times. I think they would just last indefinitely. The Bach aren't as awake as the new ones, and maybe the essences of today are really helpful. I've got some really new ones which are made from the essences of the soul that come from Holland, and I find that clients who've gone through a number of clearing out their dirty electricity or the background that they've grown up with that's made them really struggle. Once they've gone through those with other essences or the Bach essences or California essences, any of them, they seem to later need these of the soul. The soul essences are wonderful, and I'm very excited about them. I can supply them to practitioners as well. I have a connection with the Dutch people, the Dutch people there, probably because of my Afrikaans from South Africa. But I have from all over, and it's exciting. Thank you. You tried them. I can check for you as well. I'm only in San Mateo. I'm not far.
Anyone else have any questions?
Anybody else?
Thank you, Patricia.
Okay, thank you.